So let's go up to GP Tools, Utilities, and Company, and GL Changer, or just Changer. Yeah. All right. And yeah, looks like it's registered. So perfect.
Can I ask you one
Now,
question before we move from this, though, Rita? Only
yeah.
because I want to get it out of the way before we start. The other parts here that are for sales and for purchasing, payroll, inventory, do we also have access to those ones, or are they additions to just the GL changer? So we would have to still pay for these other sections.
You
I don't.
would, but I would be careful with
Okay.
especially the RM changer. And I'd want to know what you want to change to be able to use that, because
Yeah.
in, say, receivables, we have the customer consolidation, which that has to be used because of property taxes and utility, all the diamond modules.
Yeah, I'm not referring to that. I was thinking more for general receivables outside of taxes, but more predominantly for the purchasing side of things, where we had a vendor set up and then whoever was doing it may have punched in a different beginning of the name and couldn't find it. So they set up an alternative one. So we have ones that we have marked as inactive, use this one instead. So
So
I was curious if we were able to amalgamate the two of those into the active one.
yeah, you already own it. If you
Okay.
go over to purchasing down on the lower left,
Yeah.
you can see under utilities. Oh, where is yours? Are
Over
you,
here.
do you have power user rights, Darren?
That's a Marcia question.
Because on there, like if you were a power user,
Yeah.
there is just a minute, I'll tell you what it's called. I just got to bring up my image. It's vendor modifier.
Okay.
And vendor modifier and called something else. Just a sec.
It's called, I have it here, Rita. It's
Oh,
called vendor combiner and modifier.
that's right. So you would use that. Now, the only condition in using that is everybody should be out of the database and only SA can run it.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason for that is because it's a change in the data in the SQL database, and only SA has the rights to do it.
So Marcia would have to do that then.
Right, and you already own that.
Okay.
In payroll, you also have it. It's under reach, and it's called employee rename.
Okay.
And it's the same conditions.
Okay. So on the receivable side, if I wanted to use it for general receivables that have nothing to do with taxes or water, it would be okay to use it for those areas then too, right?
Well, we would just prefer if you used the customer consolidation tool. So click on the diamond toolkit at the bottom, the little red icon.
This guy?
Yeah. And
Okay.
you see, oh, so in the so Marcia would have to give you access to it. Again,
Okay.
it's called customer consolidation.
Okay.
And again, you should be logged in as SA.
Okay.
And it'll take care of everything for you. And it's way easier to use as well than the customer consolidation under sales. You shouldn't use that one under sales because it's missing valuable table information. So you don't want to use it, okay? I'm just putting it that way. That's why you've got the Diamond Toolkit for customer consolidation, even if it's only receivables to receivables.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Going to be coming at you at some time, Marcia.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
See,
Carry on.
Tatiana has her hand up.
Pardon?
Tatiana has her hand up.
Yeah, I just had some
okay.
questions, Rita, just before you get started. Just wanted to know, we have some people absent, and so I had arranged with Simone to have the session recorded. I just wanted to make sure that that was on the go.
Yeah, I've got it recording right now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. And the second part, Darren, I'm not sure if you need to be in the test company for this. Rita, just
Yes.
if you're gonna have him do stuff, just make sure you switch companies there.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's just was my next thing I was gonna say.
I'll
So,
do that
okay,
right now.
perfect.
No, not
So
new
there-
GL, not, sorry, not new GL test, Aaron.
Oh, sorry.
This-
Hang on.
The backup company. Thanks.
Yeah. Do we even need new GL test anymore, Marcia?
I wasn't involved setting that up. That was
Okay.
Kevin. That was all to do with your chart of accounts.
Okay.
And give it a couple of years, Darren. Just let us
Yeah,
get through
no,
a year or
just-
two of financial statements before we
just-
mess around with that.
Just asking, that's all. that
So one of the things I am gonna do is, I don't know who all wants to be included in this, but, Marcia, let's see, where's Marcia? Oh, here she is, Hooper. I'm emailing you the, manual for, GL changer. Okay, so there is a manual. It's going to go into a lot more than what I'm going to teach you today because I'm going to give you the shorter version. But just so that you're aware, there is a manual. It goes into quite a lot amount of depth. So if there's something covering that, you know, I haven't covered today, you can always go through there and have a look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll file it somewhere and let everybody know where it is.
okay. Okay, so while are we in the right company?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get going, there's just a couple things I want to go over. One of them is security. So there is 2 security tasks created or a role. It's called change user. And that change user is attached to a change default user task. So anybody in this role is going to have access to changer. So my guess is, Marcia, you probably attach changer to Darren, or else Darren is a power user. I don't think he's a power user because he doesn't have everything.
No, he's not a power user. I attached it to their roles.
Okay, perfect. So Marcia's already taken care of that part. The next piece is before you even do any changes, you have to prepare for the change. Okay. And again, we're all anxious to see how it works, but it's important that you're preparing. So the first thing is I always like to recommend that you do it in tests, because when you do it in live, everyone has to be logged out because nobody can be using the GL while you're running these changes, and every module uses the GL. So it's very important that it's done, you know, after hours or when everyone is logged out. The second thing is make sure that you have a backup of your live database before you run it, because there is no rollback. There is no undo if you don't like it. Okay. The next thing that you're going to want to do is up on top, you've got Microsoft Dynamics GP.
Yep.
If you could go up there. And under your maintenance, you've got your check links.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to do it today just because it takes some time. You should be inserting all on your financial series, your sales, your purchasing, and inventory, and running it to make sure you have no errors. Now, the thing with check links, I want you to be aware of, it's important you do it in test first, because it will auto-correct any information that it's having a problem with. So let's just say you had, you know, a header file and didn't have any details, or vice versa. It has details and no header. Somehow you have some correct data. It's going to auto correct it for you. So you might decide as an example, let's say it's going to remove a vendor because it couldn't connect the data. You may decide you want to create the vendor so that the data stays there. These are just some examples.
Okay.
And it's just a way of keeping sure that all of your information is in check. This is really going to be useful as well because you just went through, you know, a large remapping exercise. Okay, so this is making sure that all the tables are intact.
So question, when we did the conversion and Kevin set up the new company, would Kevin have ran this at that point in time to make sure that there was no issues here?
No, no.
Okay,
This is just an extra step Microsoft has put in. Okay. And it's usually just for periodic maybe disconnections from SQL. You might have had, you know, a power surge and people were kicked out, or you know, just those random types of things.
I just want to say, Darren, that I run that before the year-end update. So it's been run since.
okay. And do you often see any issues there or?
There were none.
Okay,
Yeah, so again, they're just telling you to run this ahead of time so that you're ruling out any potential errors before you do the GL changer. Okay?
Yep.
All right.
and do that
Any other?
for all of these sequences here and do it for
Well, you only
everything
have
that's
to do it. You only have to do it for
the ones that we,
financial, sales, purchasing, inventory. Payroll is the US payroll, so don't bother doing it.
we have to do it for
Right.
project because we still use project costing though.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
so-
not Diamond Project. That's Microsoft's
That's the
project.
Microsoft version. Okay, so don't get confused there.
Right, right.
Okay.
And payroll is the US payroll, so don't bother with it.
Okay.
Okay. So just kind of telling you, these are only the Microsoft modules that you're using.
Okay.
Okay.
Rita, just before you go on, I just want to go back when you were talking about the security. I just want to confirm when you say staff will have access to the change, to the changer, is that specific to the role of the position? So for
Yes.
example, payroll will not have access to GL changer, but only payroll changer and vice versa?
You don't own payroll changer.
Oh,
The only thing you purchased was GL changer.
oh, I thought there were some components
Oh,
within the GL
input.
changer
Oh,
that allows some payroll adjustments as well.
but that's not in your license. That's why it's grayed out. So Darren, if you bring back up that changer window under the utilities there, you're going to see they're grayed out.
So that goes back to what I was asking, whether we already had as part of what we purchased, the RM changer, the PM changer, the IV changer. So by what you just said there, we don't have any of those four. We only have the first.
Right. You can see it's the only icon that's highlighted. It's the only one you purchased with your license.
Yep. So for the RM and the purchasing one, use the other component that you had
Right.
specified there. Yeah, which has to be run
Yes.
by Marcia. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And same with your payroll. So Diamond has built in, or Microsoft has built in these other components that you don't need to purchase those additional licenses for. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that they are all separate, but good to know. So being able to change employees' IDs is part of the payroll changer. It's not part of what we're doing today.
Well, and changing employee IDs is part of Reach that you already buy, and it's called employee rename.
Okay.
Okay, and it's under the setup under Reach. There's an employee rename.
It's a similar sort of thing. It's just a Diamond product instead of a Microsoft product.
Okay, where's the GL changer is a Microsoft product?
Correct.
No,
Okay.
GL Changer
no.
is Corporate Renaissance.
Sorry.
Okay, it's a third-party module. Now, the reason
Okay.
why you needed to purchase this, I just want to explain why you needed to purchase this. The reason is because Your GL goes into third-party modules like taxes, utilities, cash receipts, all of those other modules.
Yeah.
Microsoft does offer a GL changer, but it only goes into their product. It only does their GL.
Hmm.
So that's why you had to purchase this from Corporate Renaissance, is so that it updates all the third-party modules that are included in your system.
Fair enough.
Okay? So any questions about that? Okay, so going back to the check links, any questions about the check links? I think Marcia's pretty aware of how it works. So, you know, you can always rely on her, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let's close the check links. Now, the next thing is getting ready for what the change is going to be. So I always like to say, you've got two choices. You can go into financial and you can print a trial balance for, you know, the account or accounts you want to move in detail.
Okay.
Or you can use Smart List and extract them to Excel. So let's just do a single account move. So Darren, right now, let's just go into financial and let's go into summary and let's look at one account. Yeah, and financial in summary. And let's look for one account that you want to move.
That we
What
actually want to
account would
move, or
you?
just that we actually need to move, or just pick any account?
It doesn't matter. If you want to actually move it, let's just do it, okay? So 180, 80, and then all zeros and a 08.
That's a bad example because it doesn't, that one will be better. It's because it's
Okay.
got history.
Okay, so let's so that's 00850 and you're 5820, is that right?
58,200.
58,200. Okay, so our balance in 2022 is negative 1017. I'll just actually take a print screen of it. So in this example, I'm just going to take a print screen
Okay.
so that you can see that information. Now, can you go to 2023 and just see if there's anything in there?
Oh, there's nothing there yet for 2023.
Okay, but again, you could go back to 2021 and it's also got data, right?
Yep. Yep. All of
So
our historical data back to 2019 would still be here because that we had kept the 3 years.
right. So it would be important to, you know, kind of have this information so that you can see what it was before so that you know if there was any mistakes, right? Okay, so this is the account that we're going to move. So where are we going to move it to? Are we going to combine it with another account or are we going to create a new account?
So could we do it both ways?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
let's
mean,
just,
well, so if we're going to move it to a new account, we can do that first and then we can move it to combine it, right? So you can see both examples.
okay, so which one would you like to do first?
Well, we have to do to the new account because once we move it to a combined account,
Yeah, but we can just pick
there would be a
another.
new total.
Yeah, but we can just pick another account to do it, for example, two. It doesn't have to be this one. This is test environment, so we can fiddle around with whatever accounts we want to.
Okay, so if you're going to move it to an existing one, can you show me an account you want to move it to?
Sure. Let's just go with, I guess the one before. Again, bad example because it's got nothing in it.
All right, so we're
Go with
going to
this one.
go to 59. What is that? 5.
Actually, that's probably a bad
5.
one because that's an expense account. So we should probably pick another revenue account. Yeah,
This one here?
we'll go with this one.
Okay, so 80, 80. Now, do you want to take some print screens or are we going to be taking the data to have a look at it?
Am I taking the print screen or you? Because you had already taken the print screen of the other, so.
Okay, all right, so let me just grab a print screen of this one. I have to copy this. So this was the 2022, 2021, and this one here is 2022. Okay. All right, and then so is that what exactly is that account, like the 599?
It
Can you
was
just
a
sort of
object code that was set up for development charges within non-departmental corporate. So
Yeah, so can you
it's
hit the lookup so I can just get the full 5
sure.
digits?
Yep. 59990.
5990.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, and close, and then let's go to 2021 so I can take a print screen of 2021 as well, just to show you the history.
Yep. Nothing.
Oh, there's nothing. Okay.
Yeah, that one was just set up this year.
Okay, so let's close, and we're just going to do a 1-to-1. Okay, so if you go back down to the changer, and then you just click on the plus on the top. Oh, sorry, this can't hit cancel. Sorry, I meant the batches. Hit the 0 on the batches.
Oh, okay.
There. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is set up a batch. Okay.
Okay.
I like to keep them simple, like 1, 2, so I don't forget what I named it, because there's no lookup icon, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We'll just go with 1.
Yep. No, just hang on. Close this. Sorry. It was the plus. How come you're just a minute. Are you in the right one? Yep. Close hit. So you do want to hit
That's okay.
no, you click, oh sorry, yours isn't showing. GL changer. It's supposed to be blue with an underline. You've got it in
Are
pink.
you,
You
sorry,
must have
Darren,
changed your,
this is checking the registration screen. Is there a different screen or is it the same window?
no, your registration would have come up if it wasn't registered. So Marcia
Okay.
has already registered it. So normally, like in your live company, this GL changer would be blue with an underline. So click on the word GL changer there. Right there. Okay.
Remember though, we're in the backup environment, so we've altered the colors so that it's clear which company you're in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got our change account, which we said was going to be 180.80.000 and 00850, 58.200. And then we were going to move it to 180.80.000, 00850. And then it was going to, oh, sorry, 00840, 59990. All right. And then you're going to go ahead and hit insert. And then you're going to validate it. Do not create
Yeah,
a new
because
account.
it's already there. Now, question
Right.
there, and I know we're going to get to example 2. You do not need to go to the cards window then, for example, to set it up and then come and do this. You can tell it to create the new account right from here in one step.
Well,
Yes or no?
in your case, I think we can, because we are using the segments, the naming convention right on the segments. We'll
Yes,
have
we
to
are.
just test to be sure in your example whether or not it's working properly. Okay, but
Okay.
you don't have to. It can automatically create it for you. That's right.
Okay, so in this case though, where it's already there, we're not creating a new one, so just hit validate.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And then it disappears. So if you want to see the valid accounts, you would click on the valid. See valid? The icon in the middle display. Down, the icon, the radio icon in the middle.
Oh, this
there.
guy. Sorry.
Yeah. So these are all the valid accounts. Okay. So then
And
you're
so
going
this is
to,
just this is a history that goes on for forever. You come back to this window. If you were to hit this again, you'll see everything in here that you've already previously done changes for. or does it?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Not previously. This is what's going to be sitting in our first batch. Okay.
Oh, so this is batch related. Gotcha.
Yeah, this is batch related. So we've got to do this one first before we can do the next one, right? Because we're then going to move it from 5,900 to maybe a new account.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to mark it on the right. Okay, click assign up at the top.
So Rita, just to confirm, sorry to interrupt, you don't want to mix, you want to have separate batches for accounts that you're merging versus accounts that you're creating new for? Is that correct? Is that why you're doing it in
No.
two separate batches?
Well, no, because what we're doing, just hit cancel here for a minute. What we're doing is because it's a two-step, right? We're moving it to 5,900 and then we want to move 5,900 to something else.
We're just doing two separate examples, Tat. So we're doing one where we're moving it from one existing account to another existing account. And then we're just picking on the one that we moved it to again, because it's arbitrary. You need an account to be able to try it.
Oh,
We're
I get
going to
it. You want
move
to
it
use the
from one
same
account,
account
and then
for
we're just going
example
to,
2.
yeah, we're just going to
Okay.
use the same account that we've moved it to, but we actually meant to put it into a brand new account, just so we can see the differences between the two different things.
We'll do multiples after. You
Yeah,
definitely can
that's
do
okay.
multiples. Okay, so
Okay, thank you.
click the mark icon there on the right.
I did. All it does
No,
is
no,
just go.
the mark icon.
Oh,
on
that
the,
guy.
there.
Gotcha.
Okay, now hit assign. And then create your batch like 1.
Okay.
And then assign. Okay, and then
Right.
we'll close this window. And now you can see you have one batch. So you can click on the batch and then it's going to give you some options. You're going to have to enter 1. See this what I mean? There's no lookup. Press tab. Okay, now, and press tab. Can you change your batch 1 of 1? Can you just make the other one, the 0 a 1? There. Okay, so you have options. You can have it as of a certain date as well, or we can take them all, all years. Typically, you're probably going to take all years, correct?
In this case, yes, but how would that affect this might be a dumb question, but how would that affect the closing of previous years then?
It doesn't affect anything because you're not closing years. You're just moving the amounts for representation. There's nothing you have to do.
Okay, so it's not undoing anything that's already been locked down and finalized then.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The only thing is if, let's say, you were going to move from a profit and loss to a balance sheet.
Yeah, because your overall profit and loss accounts end up becoming one. Yeah.
Right. And so then that's where you might have to restrict it to 1 historical year because Dynamics GP can only create the entry for 1 historical year.
Okay.
So just kind of keep all those things in mind, right?
Well, I'm trying to.
Now, the idea of this is that you're setting up these batches in advance. So that's why there is changer processing in progress or do not process. So I want to keep my data manageable. Like I don't want, 1,000 accounts in one batch.
Yeah.
Because that's going to take forever to move that data. You want to keep it focused, and again, it depends on how many years you're moving. So let's just go changer processing in progress because that's what we're going to do. We're not going to be doing do not process. We're going to leave the date out so that we move everything, right?
Okay. So click
And then
those.
we just hit save. But I just wanted to show you the screen so that you could see.
I can't click change
Well,
your
that's because
processing.
it's assumed that you're going to want to process the batch. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So if you didn't want to process, because you could have multiple like you could have 10 batches sitting in here, right?
Yep.
And maybe you only want to process 5 out of 5. So the other 5 you'd have to mark as do not process.
Okay.
Okay. And then that transfer transaction date after, you can also set that. So let's just go ahead now and hit save. And then you would close the window. And then you just hit the GL up at the plus sign. And then this is where it's warning you, okay? You know, please back up your data, delete old account numbers, make sure that you've marked the delete originals. So again, cancel here so you can see. It's not going to affect you this time because there's still going to be something left in there, but you could delete that account you're moving from, the 58,200, right? You could mark delete the GL account number.
So
So it doesn't get left in the system.
what is the best practice then there to actually delete it or to just mark it as inactive?
So in this case, you're totally moving everything because you didn't put in a date. So
Yep.
I would probably delete it like it never existed.
Just to keep your structure clean.
Yeah, to keep your structure clean and make sure nobody accidentally, you know, codes to an incorrect account number. But let's
Yep.
say that account number is valid, that in the future you are going to have provincial grants, then you're not going to want to delete it.
Okay.
Right, so I can't give you the answer to that question. But
Okay.
what you have to know is it affects the whole batch, not just, you know, one transaction. Okay?
Okay.
So let's hit the GL plus
Process.
and process. So what it's doing is it's running, and you can see the check mark on the current activity. It's telling you that it's running.
Okay.
You can also look at your process monitor. It would be running. And you don't want to mark it to stop unless, you know, of course, there was something urgent. Like you didn't want it and you're going to restore, something like that.
Okay.
So we're going to have to give it time to run. Now, do you have a lot to clean up?
There's at least probably 20 to 25 accounts that I'm aware of at the moment.
Oh, okay. So that's not too bad.
No. And I need to go through those again, though, just to make sure that they are indeed one-to-one relationships.
Okay.
We had identified most of those the day, I think it was the day after we had provided the information to Kevin and switched it, but it was too late at that point in time. So that list is pretty much the same as what it was back then. There might be another 5 or 6 that I've identified since then. But we need to have a conversation between Brad and Ted and myself to make sure that there aren't any other ones that are not on that list still. So it may grow a little bit, but I honestly don't foresee that growing a whole lot. Bring this to screen.
Yeah. And it's basically going to say what it did. Okay. That's the only report you're going to get. So then you can close this window.
Okay.
You can close your process monitor. Now we're going to go look at those 2 accounts. So first of all, go to the first one, which was 18080 30 00850 58200, and go to 2022, and it's
Bam.
blank. And go to 2021, it'll be blank.
Nice.
Now, when you go to the new account, just change your 00850 to 00840 59990. And then you're going to see the amounts. Go to 2022.
Yeah, you'll see it more clearly here.
Yeah. So you can see the first amount was the 472,529. In January, and then in January you didn't have any amounts in the other account until September. In September, you had 841,701,
Yeah.
and
then
that's still there.
And that came out, and then there was a 272 here in November and a 272 in December that came in. So, and that
Right.
is the identical balance of what was in the other account.
That's right. He's got a good memory.
Yeah.
And then if you go to 2021, you're going to see that it should be 1,976,297.94.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So the only reason why we say, take your backup data, you should be, checking that things are going to be correct, whether you're doing it in summary or in detail, you should have some idea, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that you can add the two amounts together to verify that it is the total impact that you want it to be.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Rita,
So let's go. Yeah.
hang on, sorry, I just had a quick question. If we accidentally forget to print the report or something happens and the system gets hung up, is there a place that we can go to reprint that report?
Yes.
Can you please tell us how to do that?
Okay. So close here and go into your little icon again under your utilities. Did you leave it open? No, under Diamond, software, tools, utilities, company.
Oh,
You might want to make yourself a shortcut. Utilities, company, changer, company, and then changer. And then up on the top, you've got changer. See the icon changer?
Yeah.
And then you can change your history at any time. So go ahead and click that. And then hit print for the GL because that's all you've got into the screen. And it's going to show you all of the changes that were made.
Is that what you meant though, Tat? I think, did you mean if we didn't do the actual trial balance reports or print the summary or the detail window? Or did you mean
No, I
this?
just mean like it's when you were done processing the batch and then it said print to screen, Rita mentioned it's the only report that we'll
Yeah.
get.
Yeah,
So I
that's
just
this.
wanted to make sure that we could reprint it if we ever needed to. Like if I don't know, I have had it where the software would sometimes get hung up, and so I just wanted to know where to go to reprint that report if we didn't get it at the time of batch processing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Rita.
we'll close that report. It's very limited report because you don't get to put in a date range or anything like that.
It's like the budget validation report. It gives you very limited information if there's something that it doesn't like an account that doesn't exist. Other than that, it's very rudimentary.
Yes.
It would be nice if it had at least, I guess, maybe had the values that it was transferring in summary or something, but still the usefulness of that report is limited, even if it did have the overall value of the amount it was transferring to.
Right. Okay. So let's go into our second example where we're going to transfer it to a new account.
So are we setting the new account up through the cards window, or are we going to allow it to do it the way it
Well,
wants to do it?
Let's let it auto create so that you can see what it looks like in the cards when it's done.
Okay. All right. So
You're just going to key in what the new account was. So maybe you want it 59991, right? Something that doesn't
do we
exist.
have a 59991 as set up as a segment though, Ty?
No, you'd have to go into your segments and have a look.
I can check. Just give me a second.
You could just go in here too and just.
So one thing it's not going to do, if it is a new segment, it is not going to set up the segment information. Okay.
We don't have it set up.
Okay, so
yeah, so
we
we'll
could
show you what happens.
we could just do this with a 58 because we know 58 is there. There is no
I want you to
58.
create one that that doesn't exist, just so you can see what happens.
It doesn't. So this
Oh.
is that right there. There is no 5,800. So this will be a new
No,
account.
no,
That
but what I'm saying is your 5,800 as a segment does exist because I can see it 4 rows down.
Oh, so you want to create a brand new segment too?
Yes, because I
Oh,
want to
okay.
show you what happens with the
Gotcha.
new segment
Gotcha.
so that you can make choices. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yep.
we'd go ahead and hit insert. We have to validate. And we'd mark create the new account.
Validate.
Yep, validate. Okay, now we have to click on the valid icon, the radio button in the middle. Then we
Yeah.
have to mark it. You have to highlight the record
Right. Sorry.
and then mark it. And then you have to assign it to a batch. Just put it in one because there's nothing in there. There's no more batch anymore, and hit assign. Okay, and then you can close it. Now you can go to your batch and you can put 1, 1. And again, there it is. We're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to move the whole thing. Okay, so let's close it. And then you're going to run it.
Do you want me to bring the processing window back up or?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
The report will pop up when it's done. There you go. All right. So let's go in and have a look at how it created the 5991. And then we'll also look at the segment too. Okay. So you can just go in and key in the account. Go back to 2022. And there's our amounts, and 2021 was the 19 something. So it's moved everything.
Yeah.
And if you go back to 5990, you're going to see that it's blank.
Yep.
Okay. So in this regard then, yeah.
This here though, it didn't do anything there. It just copied the exact same description as it had from the previous account and ignored the fact that it had a new object code segment.
Right. So let me just show you something. So if you go into your, just click on your financial icon on the lower left. And then under segments, go into your, under setup, go into segment down on the bottom. But down. Yeah. And then pick your object code from the segment ID. Yeah. And then type in your 59991 tab. And that's why it doesn't have a description.
Okay.
So if you are going to be auto creating it, I'd suggest you create your object codes first.
Create your segment stuff and then do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tat. Jana.
Yeah, just question for you, Rita. If we set the account up, but then we went into the segment after the fact and entered a description, it doesn't go back and re-update all the accounts, correct?
That's correct. So that's
Okay.
why I'm more of a fan that you create your segments first.
Is there a modification feature that you can run like a reconcile that will do something like auto updating them afterwards, or is that too
No.
much that's too much to
I
ask?
mean, I'll just show you what happens here. So before, let's just type in a description here. Just type in a description. Like,
Yeah, I got to get in the box first.
now don't hit save yet.
Yeah.
Now go under the account up at the top. You see up at the top screen there, up in the white part in the middle, account, right above checkbook, in the middle box at the top.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up top, click on account. Now let's type in that new account, the 18080 000 840 59991. Now this is the current description. Okay.
Yep.
I'm just going to take a little quick print screen of it. we're not a fan of using the auto update feature. Okay, so just hit clear on your account maintenance, and I'm going to show you something. When you hit save on your object code on the left, it's going to ask you if you want to close the window. Oh, it didn't ask you. Sometimes it asks you if you want to roll down the changes. We like to tell you to say no, because sometimes it does things that you really don't want it to do.
Honestly, I think I've seen that in the live company, and I remember having a conversation with you about saying no in that case. So
the way that you could figure out, now again, we'll have to do another test when the segment does exist, but the way that you could tell that the descriptions aren't up to date is in your smart list, right? You've got GL segments. You could run one on your segments to see which ones are blank, and then you'll know which accounts you have to update. So that would be a way that you'd be able to know what were the new segments and was there a problem with the GL description. Because in this case, you'd have to go into the account, so log in, and then you'd have to type in your description.
and we have a smart list already for that, do we not? Because that was one of the ones that you assisted creating.
Yeah, so just open up Smart List. I'll show you where it is. We'll run the example again. We'll actually run two examples. We'll run it again with the 5991, and then we'll create another one with 592 with no description, because now 5991 has a description.
Mhm. I did click it.
It just takes a while.
Yeah, I know. That was more or less for my viewing audience.
Okay, click on Financial, the plus, and then you'll have GL segments, the plus, and then you will have your object code. And what's going to land up happening here is we could also set a search up at the top where the description in the second search, the description is blank. Actually, we could do it for take out your first search because you'd want it for all of the segments, right?
Yeah.
So remove your first filter. Just hit delete. No, not the second. Okay, you can change it if you
I
want.
can change it up here.
Yeah, sure. And then save, say okay. And you already have some, so you would also want to add a search where the segment ID begins with 0. You don't want to include that, right? So let's go ahead and in your search, add in your second definition. Segment ID does not equal, I guess we can't say does not begin with, is,
You can go between.
yeah, but we need is not in between. So you'll have to say is not equal to, you've got 3. Yeah, and then can you just pull it down? I mean, to the right, I think it's 0, 0 is 1. And then do a third one where the segment ID is not equal to 3 zeros. Okay, and then go okay. And then this can be your favorite. So go up to the top and go favorites. Yeah, left. Right
So
there.
here's a question. How do you move this down? Because this, whenever I bring up Smart List, it's always cut off like this and I can't drag it down.
Okay, so down on the bottom where you have your task manager, you can go down and then just highlight Smart List and right click, go over left on the icon, and then just go to Smart List on the far right and then right click and maximize your screen. The
Right.
reason
And then,
why it's cut off is because, and Marcia can check with support, it's something about the remote desktop and how it's set up for the display.
Okay.
So your favorite is just going to be segment missing description. Okay. And then what you
Should
can
we
do.
make it segment object or object code segment missing
No,
description?
we didn't limit it to object. We said all
Okay.
segments.
Right.
Okay, so segments missing description. And then you could add it and create it as a favorite. Like down on the bottom when you add, create it as a reminder. And then you're just going to say greater than 0. So it pops up on your desktop so that you know these ones are missing greater than 0. Yeah. And go ahead and say okay. So if you minimize Smart List, what this is going to tell you, go to your home above financial on the bottom. And your reminder is going to pop up there. Okay. And then you can click on it and you'll know which ones didn't have a description.
Nice.
So these
Rita,
should be, yep.
sorry, is there a way to check who currently has access to create journal entries and to set up segment IDs or set up accounts? Like, are we able to see that somewhere?
Yeah, so Marcia could run a report in her administration on those specific items.
Marsha,
Okay,
is
because there
that
is.
something that's hard to do?
If you can
Um,
send a request to help desk tab.
Okay, that'd be
That way
awesome.
it's in
Thank
my
you,
queue.
Marsha. Okay.
Okay.
While I'm in here though.
Okay.
That's not going.
Um,
Oh, it's because this is no.
so
Oh, it's
those.
this one. This one's causing the problem. You only have one thing from the screen at a time. Why is that not coming to screen?
What are you talking about?
I was trying to print it to screen so that I could, well, I've got it saved as a favorite there. It doesn't matter. I'll have to go back in and add descriptions for these. These ones I know are capital projects.
Yeah, so you're going to want to do it in live though too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and that might not be the case in live. I would imagine it probably is. When was the last time this was refreshed, Marcia?
I think last week.
Yeah, so that probably is the case in live too. So, okay.
okay, so going back to Tatiana's question, so you can go ahead and close your account maintenance and your summary inquiry there. No, and let's go to administration on the left, lower left. And then under reports, you've got security, and he doesn't have them. So, it's later, Tatiana, just remind us when we're finished with Darren, we'll get Marcia to share her screen and we'll show you how we can run those reports. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we have an account that has 5991 in it, right? So let's pick 2 accounts this time, Darren. We could use that old one that had 5991.
Yeah.
And move it to a 5992 because we know there's no object code for 5992. But let's pick another account that we could move to 5991 so that you can see how the description is created. Okay?
Okay. I guess we can just pick on another one in that area too.
Yeah, something that has data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one will do.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter really whether it's revenue or expense, right? It's just a matter of.
Yeah, what we'll do, we'll just, in this case, just because we're just playing around. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Or we can even create a new object code. So if you click on the lookup, I can't get quite the ending of that account. It's 72805.
05.
So, you know, we could check if there's a 72806.
Actually, no, hang on a sec. Let's use this one, sorry, because that way
Okay.
we will be keeping revenues and revenues together and yeah.
Okay,
If you're gonna do a
and what,
proper example, that makes more sense, so.
so what's the ending of that account number? Sorry.
59995.
Okay. All right. So let's close this and then let's go back into our example. So we're going to click on the, yeah. I can't say the link because it doesn't exist. So the first example that we were going to do is we were going to move it from our 18080 000 840 59991 because that's where it's sitting.
Mhm.
And then we're going to move it into the same account, but 5992. And then we'll insert it. Okay, and then our next example up on top is we're gonna move it from our that account that you had here. Hang on. It was 8080 00 840 599. What was it? 5995.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna move that one into our 991. And can you make it 850 instead of 840? Just because you need to make the movement first. I'm not sure the order of processing, right? So if you made this one after the move from 5991 to 992, then this one comes into 5991. You see what I mean? I would be more inclined to make the one move and then make the two. You can try to move it into the 5991 and see what happens.
So you want to move stuff from 59995 into 59991 and then combine those two together to create 59992.
No. I want one going into 5991 so you can see the description that's going to be created, right? So I don't want to combine, I don't want to confuse. So all I'm trying to say is the order of processing, right? If you have the same account that you're using twice, because that's what you're doing, you're going to be using, if you're going to make it 840, you're going to be using 5991. Go ahead and put in 840 5991.
I think she was just trying to say to transfer to account to be different than the 840-5991 because she's not sure what order it's going to process in. So to see the actual movement and to follow the logic of what the software is doing, she's just suggesting to make the transfer to account be different than what you have there. Is that it, Rita?
Yeah, because it's kind of like I've got two baskets. I move my oranges over to the apple basket. I can't move the apples back to the oranges until I've moved the oranges over. You know what I mean?
So if I
Maybe
do
that was a
this,
bad
if
example.
I do this though and make that 850, then that will be creating two different new accounts because it'll be creating this and it'll be creating
And that's
this.
what we want to do. We want to create two new ones because I want to show you the description of one where the segment exists
And one
and
where it
where the
doesn't.
segment where it doesn't.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
that's the example that I'm after. So if you hit
Gotcha.
insert there, okay, and then we're going to have to validate them, right? And you're going to mark create new account. Now, if the account, click validate, if the account had already existed, it's not going to set up a new account, okay? Because remember, you could have 10 or 15 different accounts down here. And because you're doing them, validating them all at the same time, basically you're just saying the overall rule for all the accounts is if it doesn't exist, create it. Okay?
Right.
All right, so we're just going to hit mark all. And then we're going to assign it. I just usually make it 1.
I did.
Okay, and then close. And then we'll come back to our batch. And then we're going to process that. So if you don't have anything in here, you don't actually have to go into this screen, right? The only time that you'd have to go into the screen is if you don't want to process it right away and you want to set a specific date. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so we had 2 movements now. So let's close and we'll go look at our 2 accounts. Okay, so we don't have a change in the description because we didn't have a description for 5992, but let's look at 5991 and see if it brought in that test description. You have to change it to an 850.
Yeah.
And it didn't, okay? So you're best off to set up your segments and your accounts rather than letting it auto create.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
It's either that or you go back after the fact where it says new account and you verify the description.
And then change it then. Yeah.
And then you'd have to manually change it under the cards account.
Yep.
So if we now go to Darren's smart list, he's going to have one more new segment in the smart list. So just go home, click on home, and then click on your link. And it should now be picking up that extra 5992. Now it's just important to keep these descriptions up to date because Management Reporter, that's where it's getting its information from. And hit refresh there up at the top. Oh, did 5992 actually exist? It must have existed. Yeah, it must have already existed before.
No, I don't think so, because I think the next one after it was, oh, because we changed it to 850, right? So,
No, that doesn't matter. So what you got to do is go under financial setup
yeah,
segments and go to
yeah.
5992. No, it's not there. 5992. Okay, so go back to the smart list. Why didn't it show up?
Did we refresh? Did you refresh?
Yeah.
I think you did. Go
Yeah.
back to the search. What do we have on the search?
Isn't he short 1 digit? Wasn't it 05992?
No, I don't believe so.
No, it was 59992. So it should be in this listing.
I think you only typed in 5992, not 59992. Just worth checking.
Yeah, but even this one he's got on the screen, this
It would still-
5992 should still show here.
Because it's greater than those, yeah. And description equal to blank, so it
What
still
if you
should
say,
show.
what if you click OK? Darren, like select OK now?
Up
I
at
wonder
the
if the
top.
search needs to be reran, like, is that it?
No.
No, because refresh would accomplish the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Can you
but-
hit the forward arrow key and just go to your object codes, like in the smart list? Hit the forward arrow key.
This one?
Okay. Yeah. And then go to object underneath the GL segments, and let's just look for the 5992. Just click on description at the top. It should. And click on it again. No? Okay, click on the segment ID in the middle. And now scroll down to 5992.
No,
It's not there. Oh, can you go and see which one you're looking up? And go back to your segments, your segment window, the one that you were looking at. This far window.
this
Oh.
one now?
Can you close the window? Okay, hit refresh. It's almost like it's not there. Click on the sort on the segment ID. We'll never find it that way.
No. No.
It's like it's not there. Okay, go into the description. We created the account, didn't we?
Yeah, I took a screenshot of the report that I printed that told us what it did.
Okay.
And I think
Go
you're
down
able
to
to look up
this-
the account, right, Darren?
No, it doesn't exist.
What? Sorry,
It was
Tat.
840
That was 840.
9992.
I think that one was the 840 one, Darren. Okay, so that one does exist.
But the segment doesn't.
Go back into the segment in the setup on the bottom. And go to object, and this time don't type in the object, hit the lookup icon and go down to 5992, or just type in find by 599 and press tab. Go
No.
up one. Oh. I don't know, just for me, I normally create the segments first, and I normally create the accounts because I don't like the way that it does it.
That's a very good example as to why you should right there.
Yeah.
Because it's done something funky that no one can explain.
Yeah, when you run your check links, it would add it back in. Because that's what check links would do. It would validate to be sure that all of them were there.
Right.
Okay, so let's kind of go through another example. So looking at your object, oh, let's go back to the segments there.
I'm sorry.
And let's just go to what's the 0840? What is that, the fifth segment? Or let's just say is
00840 is the activity project. So that would be the fifth segment. Yes.
okay, so let's look up the fifth segment as an example. Oh no, I got another. Go into your division. I got a better idea. So let's just say in the division and hit the lookup icon. Let's say that recreation 32 is going to get moved under a different department. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're going to move a division into a new department. Okay. So currently right now, 32, if we look at 32 recreation, it belongs to what department?
Corporate services.
Corporate services. So do you know the number of corporate services, or do we need to close this and look it up?
One.
So just close here. And
13032.
Yeah, I think corporate services is 30.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay. So let's say we're going to move it into a new department. So what's another department we could move it into?
24 being business development.
Okay.
Or BD, business development, culture and tourism. Sorry.
Okay, so let's just say we want to move that whole department, a division, into a new department, okay? Because we had an organizational change. So let's go back to the GL changer. and click on the GL changer
That guy.
link. Yeah. This guy, yeah. Okay, so we have something called wildcards. So this would be an example of where I could type in 130.
You want me to actually do this? Okay.
Yeah, 32, and then fill it with question marks. No,
Oh,
at the after 32, we gotta fill it with question.
Actually
Yeah.
fill it with question marks.
Yeah, or you
Okay.
could go wild fill, and then, yeah, and then one, so we
Well,
wanna change it now to one.
I did click wild
Oh,
fill there and it
sorry,
didn't.
that we've gotta do the 2 first. So it's 124.32, and then all question marks.
Okay.
And then you press on wild fill. And what that's gonna do is bring back all the accounts that need to be moved. We're not actually gonna do the movement, but so the wild card is you can move full sections of your GL.
Okay.
Okay, so this is so that if you wanted to keep your structure in place and somebody's moving from, 30 to 24, you could move that whole division. Or let's say you set up a project under the wrong department and division, you could move it.
And that has happened a couple of times and we did it the old fashioned way. So this would be
Okay,
useful
so
there.
So
Yeah.
sorry, Rita. So if you were doing 130.32 and you wanted it to be 124.32.
No, it should be 124.32. So
Oh,
let's
okay, I
just
see that.
let's hit clear and do it again, Darren. So I didn't catch that he typed it in incorrectly.
All right.
And then 124.32. Yeah. And then
Fill.
yeah, I don't think we had deleted all of our data.
I don't think
so
it
yeah,
cleared it for you. You
let's
might need
go
to try to
delete
clear.
all. Yeah. There you go. And now wild fill. There you go. Now, one of the other things that you're going to have to keep in mind if you're going to do these types of changes, okay, is payroll. Because payroll would not know that this is the new department mask for recreation. Okay, because the department is a mask, it's not really a GL account. So let me just explain. If you just leave this on the screen, Darren, and if you go to HR and payroll on the lower left, and under cards, go into department. Oh, you don't have it.
I probably can't do this, so.
Yeah. So what would land up happening is you would have to update the department so that you would change it from 3032 to 2432. It's not going to update the payroll department because the payroll department is not a GL account. It's a mask.
So if we do mass changes like this, then we have to let human resources know so that they can modify it in their system.
Right. Okay, so you need to let them know that they have to do that separate modification themselves.
Changes like that, Darren, we would just need to plan, like instead of just doing them and notifying payroll, I feel like we'd need to plan that
Oh.
alongside with them, right? Like I wouldn't
Certainly,
want to
yeah,
spring that on
no.
them.
No, we
Okay.
would better not go that route. Better to plan ahead, let them know that it's going to be changed and then make the change after they're aware of it. So it's seamlessly done on both sides.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so those would be the main things to look out for when you're doing those changes. The next thing that you do have, so we're just gonna delete all here, Darren, because we're not gonna run this. But again, you'd go through the same steps, you'd validate it, it's valid, you'd mark them all, you'd put it in a batch. Okay, so that's all there is to this screen. You can do a one-to-one, you can do a wild fill. You make sure you're checking the order of processing. So close this and let's go back to that main window again. And then under the changer, there's also an import feature. To go changer, at the
And then
top.
this is to bring in a
Yep.
spreadsheet of a variety of other changes.
Right, right. So up a changer, the icon at the top, you've got import, right? Right. One more, right? There. Yeah. And then
Yep,
change
right
your
there.
import. Yeah.
Yep.
Click it. And then you've got your import path. Okay. And
And I
basically
have watched a YouTube video that dealt with this a little bit. So I do know a little tiny bit about this part, but
right. Right. And you know, that's basically all it is. If you need help, you can go to the help about this window, but basically it's 2 columns. It's your account number, your current account number, or is it 3 columns? Just a second.
I think it's 2, the current account number and the one that you want.
Something tells me that it might have also been it's the account index is what you need, the 3rd column. So just go into your help. There's 3 columns actually. So go about this window and it has to be a text file, but it's going to tell you that.
What's an account
Mhm.
index? What is that?
Okay, so go to Smart List. So every account in the database has a number. It doesn't really recognize it as a GL string because it's all broken up into various different tables. So the SQL tables assign it an index number. It's called an account index number. And that's the number that it does all the relationships in all the other tables. It's
So
not really your GL account number.
is it kind of like putting a circulation number on a book to put it on a shelf, like cataloging?
Yeah, exactly. So when you click on the plus on financial, and then you go to your accounts, hit the plus, and then just click on your new accounts or hit your star. What we'll do is we'll add that. So go up to your columns and then add, and then there's going to be account index, the very top one. Okay, and then say okay, and then just take it and move it to the top, like scroll down so you can on the right hand side and mark it and move it to the top. And then say okay. This is the account index. See, it's the number that it assigned that account. So when they're asking you for, the import file, you would then have to, the 3rd column would be the account index.
Okay.
Okay. The 1st column is the change account. The 2nd column is the transfer to, and the 3rd account column is the account index.
So
So
if
the
this
accountant, oh, go ahead, sorry, Darren.
if this was the Microsoft version of this, then is it only the 2 and not 3 columns? Do you know? Because maybe that's
No,
what
it's
I was.
only 2. It's only 2. It
Yeah,
doesn't need the index.
Yeah, so that I think is what I was looking at last night then. So, okay.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's the difference. So if you want to go to your search, Darren, and make this like 1,000,000 records, you can save this as all so that you keep this index, right? So just make it.
So the index number, the account index, that's a unique identifier, Rita,
Yes.
is it? Okay,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
then just hit favorites and go all and add a favorite just so that you have all your accounts. Let's go all accounts, all. And yeah, and then just add favorite.
With the reminder or?
Well, you don't need a reminder for that.
Yeah, not
Just all-
really. So,
Just all your accounts. Yeah, so this would be the 3rd column. Like I also sent you the manual and there's a whole section in there about importing a file, but this is, the basics of it. Okay. And when you're doing the import file, if there's any that are rejected, it will give you a rejected, it'll display it on the
validation
file.
report.
Yeah, it will tell you. So, yeah, so that's how you can mass import those.
So use this to turn it into an Excel spreadsheet to pull out the columns that you need and then put in what you want it to become in your second column.
Yeah, like, so, you're gonna have an Excel spreadsheet of, what's the change account where I want to transfer to, and then the final step would just be using a VLOOKUP to attach the account index as the third column.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would save it as a text file. You can leave the column headers on because you can mark that your file has headers on it. And then you would import it. Now, again, be conscious of the size of the files, right? Like I can't tell you how much information because they're very hard for me. You've got a lot of years of data in here.
Yep.
But they're not running that slow. Right now, their one account is moving in, say, a minute, right?
Yep.
So, kind of think about that way. You don't want to be sitting there and waiting for hours for a transfer.
Yeah, it's like trying to run an operating project that we've used since the beginning of time. If you don't change all phases to phases, for instance, so that when you first punch in the project number, it will take forever for it to load to screen. But if you already change that dot to say certain phases instead of all, it takes maybe less than a quarter of the time to bring up the one phase that you're potentially looking for, or the next one. It's almost, well, it's quicker than that actually. But if you say just the entire project, be prepared to sit here for like an hour or two, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so as you can see, the most important thing about this GL changer is preparing for the change. That's the most time consuming, right? It's not actually running it. It's making sure that you've got the backup documentation because your auditor's probably going to ask you. The other thing also, when you're finished, okay, you're going to want to go into the financials. So the last thing is go under home, go into financial. And you're then going to go under utilities and run the reconcile right there. Okay, and you're going to go by year, click on year, and you're going to go to history first, and you're going to go from the oldest year to the newest year, starting at 98. And then you're going to hit reconcile. It doesn't take long, but you need to run the GL, hit reconcile there, Darren.
Yeah. I guess my question there is, why do we need to run years that are beyond the history that we kept?
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you don't have any history there, then just start at the year.
Yeah, because we only kept
your oldest year.
we kept 2019 and forward when we went into the new company, so we would only have to do this 2019 and forward then?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then you would go to your open years. After you're done this one, then you'd go to your open years and run those. Now,
No,
one of the other things to keep in mind is it's not only out of Dynamics GP, it is also out of Management Reporter reports. Okay. Basically, people cannot be using the system or anything attached to it. So I did put in some notes about what you want to do. The other thing is you're also going to want to verify your budget. So it's just a bunch of extra steps, I know, but I like to put it in there because you want to be sure, right?
Marcia, I'm assuming there's a lockout feature to prevent other people from being on the system while you're running processes that need to be just you?
Nope.
No?
Yes, there
I-
is. Yes, yes. So
Well,
under your administration company, you
Mhm.
can lock the people out of the system, okay?
But that has to be
Except
done by an
for-
administrator, right? I would think
Yes.
so.
So if you lock
Um,
everybody out
well-
of the system, if Darren tries to go in with his account, it's gonna lock him out.
Can it be done
Well-
by exception?
So how it works is taking a company offline for maintenance, right? So whoever's going to run it, number one, has to be logged in as SA. Okay.
Mhm.
And then you would move that company over to take a company offline. Now, people are still in it until they log out, and then they won't be able to log back in until you put the company back online. So
So
that means
Darren,
if SA stays logged in while they're running this process, they're going to go into the user activity and make sure everyone's out.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
And then what they can do is take the company offline and just stay in as SA and run the updates, because they can all be pre-prepared, right, in those batches.
Yep.
And then somebody just has to come in and run them.
Okay. So I would do the step of preparing those batches, getting them all ready to go after I've got the screenshots of the various accounts and that to confirm balances afterwards, and then let Marcia know later that day to kick everybody out, push the magic button, put it back online, and then review those changes after she's put it back online to make sure it's indeed done everything that it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, on that take company online, you could yeah, that's probably how I would do it. If you're doing it after hours, you're not going to have to worry about people logging in, right?
Sometimes, yes, there are a variety of different people that work outside the standard hours and are still on the system at different points in time. So, yeah, you'd still have to worry about that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's what I would try, is taking the company offline, staying in as SA. You know, the first step you could do is send user messages, letting them know, because there's a send user messages
Yep.
right above the take company offline. Send them the message, check who's still in the user activity. You know, take the company offline so they can't log back in. Once everybody's offline, then it would just be SA doing the work.
Okay.
So Darren, that's why I put out all those messages prior
Yep.
to an update, or you know how it works, right?
Yeah, I do.
And if there is somebody that I still see in there, I send out the live message from Great Plains to
Yep.
tell them get out, and if they don't respond, then I
Boot them.
boot them. Normally people are really good.
Yeah. So, though, when you boot them, though, if they have something open on their screen that's not saved, then that's not kept, right? That's the one. That's the
Yeah.
one
I always,
downside of booting them.
well, I always go and, you know, to the 100th mile to try to contact them. I'll chat them, I'll email them, I'll try to
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
If they're not around,
Yeah.
chances are they're not in the middle of a transaction.
If they're not
Chances
around,
are,
they left their machine with it still open
Logged in.
and locked. Yeah. Or
and logged in. Yeah.
hopefully locked, but still don't leave your machine unlocked. So,
So in
Most,
your activity report, I put a few notes in about some of the preparing for change.
okay.
You know, that I've kind of got written down, but that's the hardest part, is preparing for it. It's not pushing the button,
That's
right?
the easy part.
That's the easy part. That's the fun part.
Oh, I don't know if
Preparing
I'd
for it
go
is
as
the
far as
hard
saying
part.
it's fun. So
Okay.
things like that are not for the squeamish type of person. That's for sure. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, that's basically all it is. It's rather an easy module. You should have, you know, tight controls over who can run it. We've gone over how you can reprint the history, how you can import it from Excel, how you can do a wildcard, how you can do one-to-one. You know, just be careful in order of processing, you know, if you're using the same account twice, right? So that you don't land up with something that you weren't expecting.
yep.
And if it has to do with a department change or division change, make sure that you're reviewing the department mask, right?
letting human resources know that, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think that Tatiana also had a question regarding who had access to account maintenance. Is that correct?
General
Yes,
ledger
and I
entries
just,
and segments set up and stuff.
yeah, and just before you move on, I just want to make sure that I don't misinform Michelle. So she was originally going to join this session because we thought that we had access to the payroll component. But if I'm understanding correctly, I was just looking at the manual that you had circulated to us, Rita.
Mhm.
And under Appendix C, like I guess um the manual that you had circulated does speak to some payroll um import payroll employee IDs for mass employee modification and some other sections. I guess those would not be applicable to us, right? Because it wasn't included in the purchase of the module.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. I don't want her to waste her time if there's nothing for her, if there's no benefit for her in here.
That's what Rita was saying, that the reach component here was for.
Right. So if Marcia shares her screen, I can show you those two pieces because she's got access to everything, but you guys, you don't. Well, actually, you can see under Darren, under utilities, he's got employee ID rename. I can see it on the screen right there under utilities.
Yeah, but I don't know whether I can actually do it or not. You want me to click it?
Well, you can. It won't let you because it'll tell you you have to be SA. You know,
No.
setup hasn't even been completed yet, so means you guys have never used it. It's just going to bring it up. See, it just tells you you can't execute it. Okay.
Okay.
Did you want me to share my screen, Rita?
Yeah, that way we can show them the department too, just so everybody's on the same page about what I mean by this mask. And then we can also go to Tatiana's question about the who's got permissions. So if you go to HR and payroll down below.
All right, Rita, is it okay for me to switch back to the live environment now? We're done?
Sure, yeah. And
Okay.
then if you click on department under the setup there, you see department. Yeah, then you hit the lookup icon. And then let's just say that we're going to go to, I guess it doesn't matter which one. Go to IT there, second one.
Are you actually going to do any changes, Rita? I'm just,
No, I
okay,
just want to
okay.
show you what you'd have to update. So just pick 001 admin. So you can see here where the mask is here. It's not a GL account number. So you remember that example where we took it from 13032 and all zeros? The definition here would now have to be updated to 12432 if you were going to change all those GLs.
Sorry, Marcia, can you just stay on the screen for a second? I just want to make a note of that. Oh, where'd that window go? Hang on, just trying to find the section in my notes here.
And that's just an example, but if you're doing a mass change of any of these segments with the question marks in the department, you're going to have to let payroll know so they can go to the corresponding department code and make the new update of where it's supposed to be going. Or they're going to get errors when they go to run their posting reports.
Okay, got it. Oh, I thought I had another question. I can't remember it now.
But you will when we're done here.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I did. I guess I'll wait until the very end. I'll let you finish off what you were
Okay, so
demonstrating.
we'll close this, Marcia, and then click on the administration icon. And then under reports, you're going to see security. Oh, right there. Yeah. And then hit the drop down on the security task and take the security task assignment. And then just go new. And then just call this GL maintenance, GL account maintenance, I guess it's called. And then from the task, hit from. And then just type in card and press tab. And you're going to be doing card 0101, maintain accounts down to right there. And select that and insert that. And then destination, set it to the screen. Let's just see if you're using that task and then hit print. Oh, you're not using that task. Okay, close. So you must have had your own task. So let's click the task and remove it. And now hit the delete the two and then hit the lookup on the from. Delete the two. Yeah, okay. And then hit the lookup on the from. Now you have GL. So you're not actually using, scroll down. Okay, so we're gonna have to do it a different way. Let me just see, Marcia, hang on. I might have to give you a smart list for this. Hang on.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, years ago, Dan Kehoe, when he was here, he set up all of these
Okay,
tasks, so we don't use the typical ones.
yeah, that's fine. So close this and let's open up smart list. All right, you're opening up smart list, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just gonna take control if you don't mind.
Sure.
Just to make it easier to find things since we're not exactly sure here. Yeah.
I have one question when you guys are done too, Rita.
Okay. Already did user ID. I need company ID and the role ID. I don't think I can get what's in the task, but let's just see what we got here. And we just want, I'd have to look up what your company numbers are, but let's just say it's company one. Let me just see what we've got on this full access here.
Yeah,
10.
Darren, Tat, and Brad all have full access rule.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see, I might have to break this down. Okay, so I'm gonna have to break down the task as to what's underneath it so that I can get the account maintenance. So I'm gonna have to go right to the security task setup. So that would be here, because then that would give me what's underneath each one of these. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add that on to the bottom, the security task master. And that's security. Okay. So in this case here,
You want to modify,
Just-
yeah.
I'm going to copy it before I give you the next level in case you want to use this one, right?
Yep.
And I'll just call it security task details. This one is security task assigned, and then I'll give you the I'm going to put your live company in here as a filter just because it's going to be big.
Yep.
So we can always look up the company ID to be sure we've got the right one, but that was in the user role. Yeah. Just because this is going to be big.
Sit down there and socialize with other members in the community. Well, then come out to our insurance community meetings, they are better. And look
I got the text twice.
On the first and third Wednesday of each month. And there's here starts at 5 p.m. First time since then. And their menu is always posted on social media closer to the date. And of course, they share it here as well.
So
On spot nations of paying what you can. If you want to find more of the uninsurance community meals, take a look at our events page on my
I should get rid of the default user.
Yeah, just filter that out.
Yeah.
For you. That's the Richie difference.
Yeah, I don't know if that's giving me what I was looking for. It's not, I'm gonna look up that one role that I had. It's not giving me everything underneath it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to probably make it a left outer is what I'm thinking. Because it's not giving me the breakdown. I might have to create a separate one for it because I might not be able to get it out of here. I'll Let's try that as a left outer. Oh, there it is, the cards. That's what I wanted. Who had card 0101, right? Oh, it was the
Yep.
security task ID equal to or contains, because I don't know if that star is there. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it must have been the name, not the ID. Like I don't have access anymore.
Here, let me try.
Try the search.
It's not letting me have control. I think it's still looking. I think it's still
Could be.
trying to find something.
Stop it.
Up to 10 centimeters. There is also risk of snowfalls late this evening as well as overnight, with the low wind -6 and the wind chill at -13. These snow conditions up to 10 centimeters. Winds could be coming from the southwest 30 kilometers.
I don't know why I can't do anything.
Yeah. And my mouse isn't working, so. Can you just close this window?
I don't think it'll let you. I think it's doing something.
While we're waiting for this, Jaren, did you want to ask your question or does it require Rita to demonstrate in GP?
It doesn't require to demonstrate. I was just looking for a quick overview of what our meeting next week would be on this. What do we have left to still discuss?
Nothing.
Oh, okay, because we
I
have
mean,
another meeting scheduled to continue this
yeah.
topic. Okay,
Simone
so we
left
don't,
it booked.
so we don't need it.
No,
So
you-
hang on a
you-
second. So I was gonna ask the same thing near the end there, but I don't want to lose those hours. And so I was going to ask Rita the same thing in terms of do we have anything further on the agenda for the February 8th meeting? And if not, can we save that time should we need your assistance as we try to implement some of these changes that we need to do, Darren? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Is that something that we can work through in the next week or two? And then should we get stuck, or should we have some additional questions, we can utilize those 2 hours to reach back out to Rita?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Well, as long as, is that okay, Rita? Can we potentially do that?
yeah, it's just, and when I've trained people, I've never had anybody come back.
Yeah, I think from what we've done today, I think I'm pretty confident that between the two of us, we're good here. I don't foresee us needing to go back to Rita. The one thing that scares me a little bit, and because it hasn't been done yet, is changing an entire division to another department. That is a little bit worrisome and a little tiny bit squeamish there, but that's because we haven't done it. It's not that I don't understand the process that she's explained here. It's just a matter of doing versus seeing. So,
Okay, so Rita, if it's okay, if we can take the approach of we'll hold on to those hours just for a little while, if that's okay. We'll work through implementing some of the changes, and if nothing else comes up, then we'll mark the project as closed. Is that
Yeah,
is
like what I would suggest, I mean, is to cancel next week's session and then book the 2 hours when there's something that you need. Right? Rather
Yeah,
than,
yes, that's what I was thinking, like, cancel next week's sessions, but, just, I guess, hold on to those hours until we can finish the process, or at least run through the process once or twice. And then, I mean, once we're done that process, we can get back to you and say, yeah, we're good. We've run through the process. Everything's working okay. Or, if we have additional questions come up, I mean, reach out to you and Simone and say, hey, can we reschedule, a
yeah,
meeting for whenever you're available to do so.
yeah, yeah, is a better approach, like, they just give you those extra hours because you may need them, right? So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so if I'm looking for my cards, sorry, yeah, I don't know how to look inside I'm not getting what I'm looking for. Because it's not giving me, see, normally you're handing these out. I'd have to break down how your classes are getting, 'cause this isn't giving it to me either. Started with your role. And then you've just got this one. And it's just all of the items attached to the 10. We just set a filter on the 10 full access just so I can. I've only got a few minutes left here and then I've got to get going. But let me just give it a try here. The task.
It's, yeah. It's 1 OR, not 10.
Oh, it's not 10. Okay, sorry, that's 1.
It should be, maybe just make it, there should be a K on the end.
There we go. Good catch. Like I don't get why it's not giving me. I gotta go one more level down. Hang on. It's not giving me the selected items. So the list that's attached to them. So let me just see. It's not giving me this. Oh, I'd have to attach. Security. No.
You already had that one in there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to figure out how to get from that one to this. Because it needs the security ID. I don't have the security ID in that. The
Security task ID.
oh, it's called just the security ID. Here it is. This
there
is
you
the
go.
total I need. I need that one to take me to the bottom one.
Yeah.
So That's the table I need to link those together to get to the resource description, so. Yeah. I might as well just delete this one and then just use the other one. Because I had that same table on the other one, so. I don't actually think this is the right table here. I think this is the one. This is the one where I want to go to the security assignment task operations, this one.
Do you want it left outer or do you want it equal to?
No, equal to, and then just from there, I need to move to the resource descriptions. So this table here I can get rid of. And this is where I want to now take it to the resource descriptions. And then that's going to be. We'll put them both this way. Also make your series as well. All right, let's see what we got. And I had a restriction in here for company one, right? Okay. And we could always put a parameter in here that it's between one OR and something else.
Yeah, we have smart list builder and stuff in there.
Heck, we got something here. Let me just, I gotta walk this through one more time here. Yeah, I got my reminder for my next meeting. Okay, so not everybody has a role. And then role, let's make these all left outers. Okay, and then the task might not have one. That's just linking it to this one here. Like that, I gotta take that back. So I might need that security one to go from here. I might need it to go to there. No, but I've got the role assignment here, so I should be able to take it to the security task to this table, because it's the same one. And then to the resource description. All right, so why is this not working? Oops. I don't know, I'll have to have a look at it. I just don't have enough time, sorry. We're
No,
just
that's
out of
okay.
time today and I just don't have enough time. Okay.
Do you want me to, I mean, I don't have a lot of time to play with it, but.
Yeah.
Have a quick look.
Yeah, so all you're trying to do is join the tables properly so that you can get all the information out, and then you're going to be looking for that, you know, the GL account maintenance, which is card 0101. Okay?
Yep. Okay.
All right, you guys have fun and just let me know how you're doing, okay? Once you have had a chance to kind of get into it.
Okay, thank you so
do.
much, Rita. Appreciate
And
it.
I'll
And thank
send
you,
you the
Marcia and Sheila,
recording.
for being here.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
okay, bye.
Bye, Rita.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.